What if you had just 6 months to live? What wisdom would you share with the world? Imagine sitting down with someone you love, their voice steady but urgent, passing on a lifetime of lessons. That's exactly what happened when my grandfather, facing a terminal diagnosis, left behind 100 unforgettable pieces of advice. Today, we're diving into those lessons, not just to hear them, but to unpack their meaning, apply them to our lives, and discover how they can transform the way we face challenges, relationships, and even our own fears. This isn't just a list of quotes, it's a roadmap to a life well lived. Stick with me, because by the end, you'll walk away with a powerful takeaway that could change. My grandfather once said, "Live a life where you can die tomorrow." That's not morbid, it's liberating. It's about urgency, about not putting off what matters. In his words, don't procrastinate what you can do today. Life is unpredictable, and time is the one currency we can't earn back. Let me share a story. A friend of mine, Sarah, always dreamed of writing a novel. She had notebooks full of ideas but kept saying, "I'll start when I have more time." Years passed, work, kids, life got in the way. Then last year she faced a health scare. It wasn't terminal, but it shook her. She told me, "I realized I might not get a later." She started writing that very week, and now her novel is nearly complete. That's what my grandfather meant, act now, because tomorrow isn't guaranteed. This lesson hit me hard when I was stuck in a job I hated. I kept thinking, I'll quit when the time's right. But after hearing my grandfather's words, I took a leap, started freelancing, took risks. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. What's one thing you're putting off? Maybe it's a conversation, a dream, or even an apology. Write it down, make a plan, Another gem from my grandfather. Today's pain is tomorrow's strength. He believed every struggle is a seed for growth. This echoes his idea that wounds become wisdom. Think about it, our toughest moments often teach us the most. Take Michael, a small business owner I met last year. His restaurant failed during the pandemic. He lost everything, savings, confidence, hope. But instead of giving up, he used that pain as fuel. He started a food truck, learned from his mistakes, and now his new venture is thriving. He told me, "Losing it all showed me what I'm capable of." That's the essence of my grandfather's lesson. Hardship isn't the end. It's the beginning of something stronger. I've seen this in my own life. A few years ago, I went through a brutal breakup. It felt like my world collapsed, but that pain pushed me to focus on myself, my goals, my health, my passions. I started running, took up journaling, and discovered strengths I didn't know I had. My grandfather had a deep respect for craftsmanship, especially in Japan, where he said, "What supports Japan is the craftsman in the field." He urged us to treat them with reverence, not to haggle with those who pour their souls into their work. This ties to his broader lesson: be a solid person. Humility and respect define who you are. Let's talk about a real example. In Kyoto, I met Hana, a third-generation kimono maker. She spends weeks on a single piece, stitching history into every thread. When tourists tried to bargain her prices down, she smiled but stood firm. Later, she told me, "My work isn't just fabric, it's my legacy." My grandfather would have loved her. He believed that respecting others' craft respects their humanity. This applies beyond artisans. Think about the barista who remembers your order, the teacher who stays late to help a student, or even a colleague who goes the extra mile. When we honor their efforts, we build a better world. I try to live this by tipping generously, saying thank you, and acknowledging people's hard work. It's small, but it matters. How can you show respect to someone in your life today? My grandfather said, "The only constant in life is change." He also warned, the biggest risk is not taking risks. Life rewards those who dare to step into the unknown. This resonates in a world that's always shifting. New tech, new challenges, new opportunities. Consider Aisha, a single mom I know who moved her family across the country for a better job. She had no safety net, just a belief that change could lead to growth. It was terrifying, but now she's thriving in a career she loves, and her kids are in a better school. She took a risk, and it paid off. My grandfather would have cheered her on. I took a risk when I started this YouTube channel. I had no idea if anyone would watch, but I believed in sharing stories like these. Every video is a leap of faith. What's a risk you're hesitating to take? Maybe it's a new career, a move, or even asking someone out. My grandfather's advice. One of my grandfather's most profound lessons was, the most valuable currency is time, not money. He also said, your spouse is the person you chose, so take responsibility for the rest of your life. Relationships and time are intertwined. How we spend one shapes the other. I'll never forget meeting James and Lily, a couple married for 50 years. They told me their secret. They treat every day like a gift. They don't waste time on petty arguments. Instead, they focus on love and respect. James said, "I chose her, so I choose to make it work every day." That's what my grandfather meant by responsibility. In my life, I've learned to prioritize time with loved ones. I used to skip family dinners for work, thinking I'd make it up later. But after losing my grandfather, I realized later might not come. Now I make time for calls, visits, and even small moments like a coffee with a friend. How my grandfather believed forgiveness is not for the other person's sake, but for your own peace of mind. Letting go of grudges frees you to live fully. This is tough but transformative. Take Emily, a colleague who held a grudge against a coworker for years over a workplace betrayal. It ate at her until she decided to forgive, not for him, but for herself. She told me it was like dropping a heavy weight. She started smiling more, working better, living lighter. That's the power of forgiveness. I struggled with this too. Someone close to me hurt me deeply, and I held on to that anger for years. But my grandfather's words pushed me to let go. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. I found peace and my relationships improved. My grandfather's 100 lessons boiled down to one powerful takeaway: live intentionally. Every choice, every moment, every relationship shapes your life. Don't drift through it. Choose to act, to grow, to love, to forgive. His words remind us that life is a book and every day is a page. Make each one count. So what's the one thing you'll do differently after watching this? Maybe it's calling a loved one, starting that project, or letting go of a grudge. Whatever it is, do it now. As my grandfather said, life isn't made better by chance, it's made better by change. Let's make that change together. If this video resonated with you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear this, and subscribe for more stories that inspire change. What's a lesson you've learned from someone wise in your life? Drop it in the comments.